Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Sunday Watch. It's a program that comes your way in both Yoruba and English languages. And this morning, we will be looking at the importance of cultural and historical beliefs. When my guest walked in majestically this morning, he is a doctor. I saw an embodiment of a particular culture in him, clad from head to toe, fully depicting a culture, a group of people in this part of the country called Nigeria. I welcome Dr. Dotun Awoyera. You're most welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, ma.
All right, how are you this morning? How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
And the entire family?
I'm fine, ma.
Okay, all right. Doctor, someone is saying that they want to hear you clearly. They want you to be more audible.
Right.
So you have to speak up. You know, we have left the stage. You're now speaking to a larger number out there. So we want to hear you clearly. So how are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Happy New Month to you. It's a month of love.
Happy New Month to everyone out there.
Okay.
Good morning, viewers all over the world. My name is Dotun Awoyera.
All right.
I'm here this morning with the presenter to stretch out the topic on cultural beliefs and practices,
All right.
the importance of it.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, sir. No, you actually gave us a recap of your profile. I know you are a doctor of cultural studies. All right. When we talk about culture and history, I would love it when we take it one after another. First, let's look at what culture is all about. Before you delve into the history, then you explain to us the nexus between the two.
Thank you, presenter. Culture is a total way of life, an embodiment of everything a particular society does. And in other way, a culture is a sum total of belief, norms, practices of a particular group of people. While history is the study of the past, to be able to present the future and to understand where we are and where we are going. The two of them are quite, interwoven. You can't take away history from culture, and you cannot take culture away from history. History helps us to understand where we are, what we have been in the past, and where we are going. So the two are related, and you cannot separate the two. You can't study culture in isolation without making reference to history. And some historical facts are the one that confirms the religious, the cultural practices of a particular set of people.
Of a particular set of people. So let's look at this entity called Nigeria.
All right.
Let's look at its cultural beliefs now, before we go down to memory lane historically. Let's look at the cultural belief of the people of Nigeria. A breakdown of the different cultures.
We have different cultures in Nigeria. We have Yoruba from the western part of the country, the Igbo culture, the Hausa culture, the Efik and Ibibio, the Benin culture. All these cultures are brought together, and each of them have their distinct beliefs, values, norms, and practices. For instance, in Yoruba land, a breakdown of culture will embrace a particular belief in a sovereign God called Orisha. Number two, we have marriage system in that culture. Then we have cultural values. That is, when you talk about honesty, integrity, omoluabi. So you don't misbehave in the society. And we have the way of greeting. We have the way of dressing. We have the way of eating. Yoruba has encompassing of all practices. That's a Yoruba. And we believe even an interpretation of where we are and where we are going. A Yoruba belief that there is Anyomo, there is Kadara, there is a life after this life.
Okay, that's reincarnation.
And we believe in ancestral worship too. And that is why you have some people saying, Lo Baurie, Lo Shisara. All these concepts has meaning in Yoruba culture. And we have a masquerade tradition that links the living and the dead together. And what makes Yoruba cultural practice to be unique is that it has some semblance with historical facts in the Bible. The Egungun, for instance, which is called masquerade, the moment that Egungun comes out in Yoruba, it embodies a lot of things. There was a time when Egungun will appear, and those who are looking for children, by the time the Egungun man, the masquerade bless them, they will have their children in 9 months to come. We grew up to know that, and history has, taught us that what have we learnt in the past. So there are some people who will say that Egungun, as long as he's in that masquerade, whatever he pronounces will be like that.
Okay.
And that is a powerful force in the world. That is one of the elements of cultural practices in Yoruba land.
Okay. Even from your background information, as you laid them down, you touched on the historical aspects of our culture. All right. And well, as you will go back to history just briefly, because you have partially done justice to it, but I won't mind if you go through them one after another, where history and culture met. One, I won't also mind if you go into this aspect. You mentioned historical practices of culture. You mentioned the different deity that the Yorubas worship. Up till today, I want you to also analyze the differences of the cultural practices of the Yoruba people in time past and now. What were those distinct differences before we will move into what the future holds?
Thank you, ma. What history does is to make us to understand our past, to examine our present, and to be able to analyze what will happen in the future. And the Yoruba people believe in Olodumare, Olorun, that is the creator. And it has a number of deities. And we have pantheon of deities in Yoruba land that people believe that they are active forces behind our existence. For instance, there is Obalufon. There is Orisha called Oramfe. There is another called Yemoja. There is another called Oshun. There is another called Shango. There is another pantheon of Ogun. All these deities are deified. And Yoruba believes so much in them. And we worship them. So what history makes us to understand is to study our past. But when you look at the present day today, the present, what we're having, the foreign religion has done so much damage on our cultural belief.
Damage?
Yes.
In what sense?
And everybody who come out to say, I'm a traditionalist, I worship Olodumare, through the deity called Ogun, they are labeled as Olorisha, and that they will go to hell. But it's not so. It is not so. We have seen in our existence the active force of this deity. For instance, in Ile-Ife, there was a time when a man was accused of, playing double standard. His name was called Awoyera. And in the palace of the Oni, he was asked to come and swear if he was not doing that. And he did that before Ogun. In less than 24 hours, he was killed. to show that the religion is very active and still doing well in the land of the people. Even many people who run to all these foreign religions, they still come back to their source. You cannot divorce your source from the present. No matter how religious you are, you still refer back to where you came from. And what history helps us to do is that it will relate your past with your present. Anytime, anywhere a Yoruba man appears, you will see him very distinct. Even those in diaspora, they still embrace their traditional religion because they know and they have so much belief in those Orisha. And Orisha does not mean you are worshiping something that is not known. It is active force. It's Olodumare, and you can reach it through all the deities. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. When we look at the contemporary world, those who are believers of the traditional deities are labeled, as you said. Many will even refer to them as being fetish.
Yeah.
Some will naturally distance themselves from such group or groups of people or individuals. If we really want to chart a course forward as a people, as the Yoruba people now, you have said it that there is no crime in relating, in identifying with your roots, culturally, historically. So how should we now chart a course forward? Who should stimulate action in ensuring that the culture and history that we hold in high esteem is promoted at all times?
Thank you, the presenter. The culture cannot die out. There will still be adherents of all these religious
But
beliefs.
there are fears, I know.
They may be labeled, but it's not dying out.
Okay.
It's not dying out. And when you look at the number of festivals being prominently observed, for instance, in Lagos State now, August 20 has been declared in recognition of this traditionalist worship. So it behoves that very many will still feel that in spite of their being labeled, it's a misconception. One of the aspects of culture in Yoruba land is magic and medicine.
Magic.
And medicine. The one of medicine is really thriving very well. That is where you see people, when they are sick, they are taking alternative now. The cost of drug, of these chemical drugs, is making people to embrace agbo. When you have malaria, go and consult alagbo. They know that herbs and decoction are working, either for malaria, for some other ailments, and people believe in that. The other way, the Yoruba people has magic. It's one aspect of Yoruba. It is this area of magic that Yoruba people are labeled, or any worshippers, adherents of that religion, that they take them to be fetish. There are so many ways you could work on magic. And under that magic, you have rituals. And you are talking about metaphysical. A Yoruba man, when he wakes up in the morning, there are things you say to your God. Jijiti mojile ni o, akelo ni kan ma tori mi ke, ajalo ni kan ma tori mi ja, ọkọ ló ní kan ma fọ̀rọ̀kọ̀rọ̀ kọ́ mi lọ́rùn tèmi, mo jàjà títí mo gbé jíró, mo jàjà títí mo gbé jí ilé kan. Ayé mi ń bẹ lọ́rùn wọn ò lè jẹ́ tán, ẹni bá ní kí n mọ̀ jẹ́ igi adápá, ẹni bá ní kí n mọ̀ jẹ́ odò agbé lọ, ìran akèǹgbè tí ń pọnmi àìdọ́ àbọ̀ ń kọ̀, ọjọ́ kan lọmọdé máa ń sunkún rẹ̀ wálé. By the time you are doing that, there are forces who pick your voice. It's just like a Christian man using his own psalm. We have our own codified mode of worship as a traditionalist. So, and what history and culture will tell us is that look at the way it has done in the past. The cultural practices in the past favored our father than today. With the coming of the foreign religion, you see crime and criminality increasing every day. But in the other society where we are coming from, anybody who steals will be ostracized from the society. Today we are worshiping people who are stealing our money. Who are stealing our money. But in the traditional society, you dare not do that. Nobody will identify with you. And they see anybody doing well as Omoluabi. Anybody who does that contrary to that should not be identified with. It will even be stigmatized. Even the word fetish they are talking about, a man who does things to protect himself is not being fetish. Today, with all the burglary, what have we been doing?
Still not enough.
The crime is they will take our property, they will do everything, render out useless. But in traditional cultural society, you can't just break into anybody's house. He will simply ask you, he would command some voice.
Like the Afoshe?
Yeah, just sit down there and be sweeping. And we still have those things. Very active.
In existence.
Very working. Very working. If you seek for it, you get it. They simply tell in our community, there was a time when they wrote a letter to us and one man there said, no, don't bother, let them come. Till today, nobody came.
Nobody came. Okay. All right. We have looked at different sides of culture and how today's world is trying to erode that. But you insisted that no, it will not just go away. It will be there.
It can never.
For generation to come. Okay. I want to look at the ways in which the government, has contributed, in ensuring that all this cultural belief are protected, are cherished and promoted at all times. What are those favorable policies by government that has come to play in recent years?
Thank you very much. Nigerian government has done creditably well to recognize the religious practices of the people. For instance, recognition of August 20 as an holiday is part of it. And many of the alternative medicine, being given recognition by the government is to show that they believe in us. They believe that there is potency in traditional healing. There are some drugs who could heal this erectile dysfunction in Yoruba land, traditional one, and government is bringing up policy upon policy to recognize. And that is why when you see Osun Osogbo being celebrated, there will be presence of government there. They will come. Even when you look at the Obaship in Yoruba land, recently in Oyo State when Alaafin was to be picked, the governor was keenly interested in it. And he said we must go back to our roots. And he called an Ifa priest, a renowned emeritus of Yoruba, Professor Wale Wande Abimbola. He said, divine for us, let us know who the farmer will pick. And the farmer picked. And the man defended it, that our tradition is still being upheld till today. And government is doing a lot to make sure that the culture do not die out.
And with the facts, made open to the general public, Ifa did its magical wonders
to bring
it brought peace into that process of the current Alaafin elect. All right. Okay, you are an educationist. And in recent years, I just want to have a pulse of your, of what you feel about the recent development by the federal government by saying that history should be brought back into the educational curriculum of the country. What do you make of that? Is it also a way of promoting historical, cultural beliefs?
We are really getting it right. Every day we are getting it right. The curriculum experts have seen that there is no way history can be taken away from the curriculum. And so it's been brought back and it must be taught to students in all schools in Nigeria. And the reason being that history holds a very special position to help our learners know their past, their present, and the future. The moment you take history away from a nation, the nation is finished. So it is sacrosanct. You can't take it away. And I want to give it to our government. They are doing it very well in the area of education.
Okay.
And today, the students are learning fast as regards knowing our past. And by the time when you get into a class and you see a teacher trying to tell them this, they will laugh. Oh, all these things existed. We cannot say because of globalization, digital information, what have you, and take away our history. No, it will even be documented properly for them to learn and see.
In Yoruba language.
In Yoruba language.
All right, thank you very much. Before we will wrap up, I will like to take this very, very short break. When we come back, Sunday Watch will continue. Mo kí yín káàbọ̀ ní ẹ̀ẹ̀kan sí mo dúpẹ́ wípé ẹ wà ńbẹ̀ yẹn tí ẹ ń bá wa bá ètò yìí bọ̀. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ti sọ síwájú, a ní à ń wo àṣà àti ohun ìtàn wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí èèyàn ní àwùjọ. Mo wá ní ẹnìkan tí ó jẹ́ dókítà ní gbogbo ọ̀nà. Òun ni wọ́n ti fi sọ fún wa pé wọ́n kájú òṣùwọ̀n, wọ́n pọ̀ wọ́n jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Mo kí káàbọ̀ dókítà Dotun Káyọ̀dé Awoyera sí àárín wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sà. Ẹ
kú lé mà, ẹ ṣeun. Mo dẹ̀ kí gbogbo ilé pé ẹ kú òwúrọ̀ ọjọ́ ìsinmi ẹ̀ní.
Ọjọ́ ìsinmi first Sunday ní oṣù kejì.
Ọjọ́ ìsinmi àkọ́kọ́ nínú oṣù kejì ọdún àkó ìsinmi.
Okay, ó dà mo fẹ́ kí ẹ bá wa sọ àwọn ohun tí àkòrí ètò wa lénìí. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àṣà àti ìṣe. Kí ni àṣà àti ìṣe ní àwùjọ? Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà tá bá tún ní pé ká wo ohun ìtàn. Ǹjẹ́ ó tiẹ̀ ní ibi tí àwọn méjèèjì tí wọ́n ti pàdé tí wọ́n ń ṣe wá ní àǹfààní gẹ́gẹ́ bí èèyàn ní àwùjọ?
Mo kí gbogbo ilé, ẹ ṣeun atọ́kùn. Mo kí gbogbo ilé ní orí ìkànnì yìí. À ń yẹ àṣà wò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ó ṣe súnmọ́ bó ṣe fara gbá ètò àkọsílẹ̀ tó ń pè ní history. Àṣà ṣe pàtàkì ní ìgbésí ayé ọmọ ẹ̀dá. Láìsí àṣà kò sí nǹkan kan láyé. Gbogbo ẹ̀dá tí Ọlọ́run dá ló ní àṣà tiwọn. Bá ṣe ń sin Ọlọ́run, bá ṣe ń jẹun, bá ṣe ń kíni, bá ṣe ń wọṣọ, bí wọ́n ṣe ń lùlù, bọ́mọ ṣe ń kí bàbá, bá ṣe ń dìfẹ́ǹdì ara wa, tá a máa gbára wa sílẹ̀ tí pàjáwìrì bá dé. Bí a bá tó bá dàbẹ̀ nípa mòdí fẹ́ wà kí la máa lò. So àṣà jẹ́ gbogbo nǹkan pátá tó rọ̀ mọ́ ìṣẹ̀dá ọmọ ènìyàn àti àwọn ènìyàn kan. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ọ̀rọ̀ nípa àkọsílẹ̀ tó ń pè ní history. Ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì nítorí pé àwọn bàbá wa wọ́n mọ rírì ẹ̀ pé ká ní ẹ̀kọ́ nípa tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ látẹ̀yìnwá kó lè yé wa irú ìgbésí ayé tá a máa lò tá a bá wọlé ayé lóde òní. Àwọn obìnrin wa wọ́n ń ṣíra sílẹ̀ ni. Gbogbo ń tọkọ wọn rà tó fowó ńlá rà, ìwòwò ló ń kálukú wọn wọ̀ tán dẹ̀rù pa wọ́n ṣayé. Ṣùgbọ́n nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tí obìnrin bá múra tó wọṣọ àmàdáyàn lọ́rùn. Kò síbi tí Yorùbá ti ń wọṣọ níwòwò jáde. Nígbà tá a ra ẹ̀rọ ìgbéléwọ́, tá a mú ọ̀ṣọ́ oríṣiríṣi tá a fi bò lára, alẹ́ abojúmọ́ lára, a tún ra nǹkan bíi awọ, a tún fi bò ó. Tá a bá lè ṣe yẹn fún nǹkan ọ̀gbélọ́wọ́, ẹ̀rọ ọ̀gbélọ́wọ́, kí ló wá máa mọ́ ọmọlúàbí máa jáde tí gbogbo ayé máa wo ìwo ẹ̀ tó lòun ṣayé? Kò ṣayé ẹ̀sìn nìyẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ tá a bá bí dáa tó mọ ohun tó jẹ́ àṣà, á wùwọ ọmọlúwàbí láàrin ìgboro.
Á wùwọ ọmọlúwàbí. Mo dúpẹ́ o, kódà ní ó tún ní ibì kan tí ẹ wá tẹ́ tún mú mi lọ nísìnyí. Ẹ sọ nípa ìlù lílù. Ó ní orúkọ tá à ń pe àwọn onílù. Àwọn àṣà oríṣiríṣi ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ó ní orúkọ tí à ń pè wọ́n. Kí tiẹ̀ ní pàtàkì orúkọ jíjẹ́? Ẹ tún sọ nípa kí ọmọlúàbí kó múra tí ó wuni ní àwùjọ. Báwo ni àkópọ̀ gbogbo àwọn wọ̀nyí fi mú àbí Yorùbá fi mú wọn yàtọ̀ sí àwọn tó kù ní àgbáyé?
Ẹ ṣeun atọ́kùn. Ìlú jẹ́ ohun pàtàkì tó ń gbé ẹ̀sìn àṣà níyì nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Àwọn ìdílé kan wà tán máa ń pè ní ìdílé àyàn. Àwọn ló máa ń lu ìlù. Ìlù tó dẹ̀ wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ó póríṣiríṣi. Gángan wà, bẹ̀m̀bẹ́ wà, ìyáàlú wà, oríṣiríṣi bẹ́ẹ̀ ló wà. Àwọn ìlù yìí dẹ̀ máa ń ṣe atọ́kùn ọ̀rọ̀. Tí wọ́n bá ń lù ú, àwọn ẹni tó gbọ́ ó ní tó ń sọ. Tí egúngún bá jáde nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, onílù ló ń ṣatọ́kùn ẹ̀. Nígbà táwa wà ní kékeré, egúngún kan jáde nílùú wa. Ìjà wá dé, wọ́n bá egúngún yẹn jà, wọ́n ṣe léṣe. Ọdún mẹ́ta ló dẹ̀ máa ń jáde. Nígbà tó dọdún kẹta tó jáde, onílù ẹ̀ látọ́kùn ló wá ń bá sọ̀rọ̀. Iná oró kì í kú o, iná oró kì í kú o, ẹni tó rán mọ́ lẹ́wọ̀n kó má ṣàsùn para, iná oró kì í kú o. Eégún yẹn wá yí padà. Atọ́kùn ó ti ró lágbára. Ó wá fi nǹkan sẹ́nu. Ó hùwà bí ọmọ Yorùbá pé ilé yìí yóò nàka sí. Bóun ṣe ń sọ yìí, kí nǹkan kan má mí láti bẹ̀ wá mọ́ láti ní lọ. Eré la pé sọmọdé dẹ̀ máa ń tẹ̀lé eégún káàkiri. Di bí mo ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ilé yẹn di ahoro títí láyé tí ò sí ẹ̀dá tó lè dákọ́.
Ṣó wá yẹ kí iná oró má kú? Ẹ jẹ́ wò ó, torí tá a bá ní kí iná oró má kú yìí ká má pọ̀.
Yorùbá gbọ́n púpọ̀.
Torí mo fẹ́ kẹ́ rí lìyànnà àárín yẹn.
Iná oró ó máa kú
ẹ jẹ́ ká
pẹ̀lú ẹ̀bẹ̀. Ẹni tí wọ́n bá yàwó ẹ̀sùn tán fi wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá bẹ̀ títí tó bá lóun gbọ́, àfi kí Elédùmarè pàrọwà fún o. Ọkùnrin burú o.
Kóbìnrin má dáwọ́lé rárá.
Ọkùnrin lè pe ìyàwó ẹ̀ kó sọ wípé báyìí òun ṣe, eléyìí òun ṣe, àfóbìnrin láyè láti sọ fọ́kọ.
Ìyẹn wà ń ṣe ọ̀dààmú gbọ́ yìí.
So irú iná oró yẹn nígbà míì àwọn àgbà máa ń mọ ọgbọ́n tí wọ́n máa ń fi ń ṣe.
Tá máa ń dà sí.
Ọ̀làjú ló dé ní oríṣiríṣi eégún á máa jáde. Egúngún ò kí ń dédé jáde o níbi tán ti mọ̀. Ibi tí ẹ̀kú máa ń wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ilé agbára ni. Ẹ̀kú kọ̀ọ̀kan ti ronú, á ti wà ní ìró agbára bí odidi ọdún mẹ́ta kan tó gbé wọ̀. So tí egúngún yẹn bá mèkì àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ láti sọ tó di àṣẹ, tàbí wọ́n ṣe gígùn tó jáde níkà, àwọn ọmọ mariwo àtàwọn àgbààgbà ìlú wọn mọ bọ́n ṣe máa pẹ̀tù sí tí iná oró yẹn á fi tán tí ìlú òfin ní dàrú. Ṣùgbọ́n bí tó bá jẹ́ wípé wọ́n ṣe gígùn níkà nígbà tó jáde tí ò dẹ̀ sí ọ̀nà láti pàrọwà fún ọ̀tún àtòsì, oró yẹn á le díẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n nílẹ̀ Yorùbá a jẹ́ ènìyàn tó máa ń dáríjì ni, tí ò dẹ̀ kí ń ránró tí ó bá ti di wípé wọ́n parí ẹ̀ ó ti tán.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, mo dúpẹ́ fún bí ẹ ṣe yànnàná àárín yẹn. Èèyàn lèèyàn máa jẹ́, òun ni tí ẹ sọ fún wa yẹn. Ká tó ṣe ohunkóhun, ká tó hùwà ìkà, ká má gbàgbé wípé ẹni tí a bá ṣe fún, ó máa gba ẹ̀bẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ká tó rí ìdáríjì gbà láti ọ̀dọ̀ irú ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́. Tí a bá wo ní òde òní, tá a bá yí sọ́tún tá a yí sósì, wọ́n á lé egúngún jáde ń bí, egúngún jáde lọ́hùn-ún, àṣà oríṣiríṣi òun ni à ń rí. Egúngún yìí kẹ́nìyí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ ti ṣàlàyé, ẹyọ kan péré ni nínú àṣà tó pọ̀ ní àárín ọmọ Yorùbá. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá wo ara mímú tí ẹ mẹ́nubà. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ohun bí ẹ ṣe sọ òun ni ó ti mẹ́hẹ̀ láàárín àwùjọ nípa wípé àmúra ìgbàlódé. Tí a bá wo ti àtẹ̀yìnwá kò wá sí wọ́n ní kò sí ohun tí a lè ṣe, wọ́n ní ìgbàlódé ayé tó dé là ń lò. Báwo ni a ṣe lè túbọ̀ gbé àṣà lárugẹ láti rí wípé kò ní jẹ́ ìpalára fún gbígbé wa àti ìmúrasí wa ní òde òní? Lóòótọ́ ayé ti lu jára wọn, oríṣiríṣi ohun òun la dẹ̀ ń rí, òun la dẹ̀ ń gbọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n ayé tó lu jára yìí, báwo ni ó ṣe lè jẹ́ ohun àǹfààní fún wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá?
Ẹ ṣe àtọkùn. Ọmọ Yorùbá tí ó bá mọ̀ tí ó dẹ̀ fẹ́ wùwà ọmọlúwàbí, tí wọ́n máa ń pe ọmọ Yorùbá níbi tí wọ́n bá wà, á mọ̀ pé kò tọ́ súnà láti jáde níjáde tí ò bójúmu. Ká jáde, ara mímú ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì nínú tá a fi mọ ọmọ Yorùbá. Tí ẹ bá wo àwọn àwòrán kan àwọn ọba aláyé nígbà tí wọ́n lọ ń bá àwọn ìjọba Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, for instance, fún àpẹẹrẹ ọba Adésọjí Adérẹ̀mí nílé Ifẹ̀, nígbà tó lọ ń bá àwọn ìjọba Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, á wọ aṣọ agbádá sanyán tó dáa pẹ̀lú ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Àwọn ọba Gẹ̀ẹ́sì wá ń wò ń gbà yẹn pé aṣọ yìí mà dáa o. Bí àwa ṣe ń wo àṣà tiwọn tó ń wà, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni wọ́n ń wo tiwa. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá rí lóde òní, àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké wòde òní àtàwọn wọ́n wá ti gba àwọn ìlànà ìlú míì, wọ́n ti gbà lágbà sódì. Wọ́n wá ń wò pé ká fi aṣọ, ká wọṣọ, kó sí gbogbo àǹfààní ara èèyàn sílẹ̀, òun ló ń jọ́làjú. Rárá o, kò kí ń ṣọ̀làjú o, ìwà ẹranko ni o. Ẹni tí ó bá jókòó síbì kan tára alé ẹ̀ jókòó tó fẹ́ gbogbo tán lẹ̀, ìwọ lójú máa tì. Àwọn aṣọ tó yẹ kó jẹ́ ìtẹ́lẹ̀ ìdí ẹni, òun lẹ́lòmíì ń wọ̀ ń ta. Ṣùgbọ́n a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn even lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára wọ́n ti ń bá àwọn ọmọ yẹn wí pé aṣọ ọ̀wọ̀kuwọ̀ yẹn lọ mú kúrò. Ọmọ Yorùbá òun wọṣọ rádára, kò ń ṣègbà tó bá wọṣọ rádára náà máa mọ̀ pé ó lajú. Yorùbá ò ní irú gbogbo múra gidi yọ sóde, ìgbà yẹn làwọn èèyàn máa mọ̀ pé ọmọlúwàbí lélẹ̀.
Ẹ ṣeun, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló nílò láti bí a bá ṣe bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe é. Ìtọ́ka bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a rí bó ṣe máa rí. Ìtọ́ka rere náà òun ni ẹni tó ṣe dáadáa ló máa gbà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá wò ó ní ṣókí, kí wá ní àwọn ọ̀nà tí ìjọba tó ti gbà láti rí wípé àṣà wa pẹ̀lú ohun àkọsílẹ̀ ní ìgbà kan rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí Yorùbá tí ò fi ní parun? Kí ni àwọn ọ̀nà tí ìjọba ti gbà tí ó jẹ́ ohun ìtẹ́lọ́rùn, tàbí èyí tẹ́yìn tún máa gbà níyànjú, nítorí pé mo mọ̀ pé ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n ni yín, tẹ́ tún máa gbà wọ́n níyànjú láti túbọ̀ ṣe títí lọ débi olùkọ́ tó ń kọ́ àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ ní inú classrooms?
Ẹ ṣe àtọkùn. Mo fẹ́ rọ ìjọba wa, nígbà tí àwa ń dàgbà, ipa tí ìjọba máa ń kó ó ṣe pàtàkì láti ran ìlú lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa lo agbára tó wà lọ́wọ́ àwọn àtẹ àǹbáyé, àwọn bíi tẹlifíṣàn, amóhùnmáwòrán, ìkànnì gbogbo social media láti lò ó láti kéde. Mi mọ̀ bí mo ṣe máa sọ slogan ní èdè Yorùbá, àwọn ìkéde. Nígbà táwa ń kọ ìwé ìdánwò oníwèé mẹ́wàá, wọ́n ṣe kinní kan tó jẹ́ pé láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lálẹ́ là ń gbọ́ wọ́n á ní ìwọ olùkọ́ ìwọ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ má fàṣírí ìdánwò wọn mọ́ rẹ a kì màmá yìí ṣe irú ẹ̀ kó má wọn ni o a kì màmá yìí ṣe irú ẹ̀ kó má wọn ni mẹ́sẹ̀gì yẹn lásán nǹkan tó ń sọ ó lọ délẹ̀ kọrin kéṣe nítorí tẹlifíṣàn ní power of repetition bí wọ́n ṣe ń sọ yẹn bó tiẹ̀ fẹ́ gbọ́ wá padà gbọ́ ibi tíjọba tó ti lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́ ni àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké tí wọn ò fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ń sìn tó jówó náà wá ìyẹn ló ń bà mí lẹ́rù èmi tí mo ti ṣiṣẹ́ láti yé èmi ò níbi 2 million nípamọ́ ọmọ 17 years ó dẹ̀ tẹ̀ka lásán ó ní 25 million ní àkáǹtì bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dẹ̀ jí wọn fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ kankan wọn fẹ́ dolówó ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá rí agency through ìjọba tó ń sọ fún wọn pé owó kọ́ ni gbogbo nǹkan ní ilé ayé ọmọlúwàbí jowó lọ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó wà nú èsì tó ń gun mọ́tò ó dẹ̀ ń làágùn nú èsì torí ìdí tó fi rówó yẹn nú ìbànújẹ́ ní ẹ lọ bá wọn lówó àwọn náà gbádùn ara wọn gbogbo nǹkan kọ́ lówó dídán nílé ńlá ń dán kò sálàáfíà nú ẹ̀
èwo wá ní kéèyàn
ìbá tiẹ̀ tó o bá dúró tọ́lọ́run fún ẹ gbà á ìjọba nípa láti ṣe lórí ìkéde máa sọ fáwọn ọmọ kéékèèsí pé ẹ mójú kúrò nínú ọ̀rọ̀ owó kọ́ ni gbogbo nǹkan.
àdúpẹ́ wọ́n lówó kọ́ ni gbogbo nǹkan wọ́n ní nínú gbogbo ẹ̀ tí èèyàn bá ti ní ìtẹ́lọ́rùn wọ́n ló ní ìtẹ́lọ́rùn ohun gbogbo ló ní o dókítà wa ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. I sincerely want to appreciate you, Dr. Dotun Kayode Awoyera. It's really a pleasure having you on the program this beautiful Sunday morning, the very first Sunday in the month of February. We will be wrapping up, but before I will allow him go, he mentioned a very, very salient point in Yoruba, and I won't mind if he, resonates that in English language, where he mentioned the Enlightenment campaign by the government and all concerned, not only government now, for people to uphold values, moral values that will keep promoting, that will extol, a peaceful a society that men and women will thrive through hard work. All right, over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, ma. I will like to enjoy and urge our government through the functionality of instruments of social media to come up with so many slogans to teach the young ones in Nigeria about the values of life. And National Orientation Agency will do much in this aspect by helping our youths to know that life is not all about making money. Okay. No. You could make the money and still be sad. Life is not about opening all the crevices of your body to the public before you get married. You can dress decently and still get the best of man. It is not an indication of civilization. You open 3/4 of your body to the populace. You're only telling them you are cheap. It's only the cheap material that is not covered, that you can just pick anywhere. But a valuable thing, gold is not displayed on the surface of the earth. You dig down before you get gold. So any woman who is conscious of her worth would dress decently. And these slogans and these agencies will do a long way to really, change the mind of our young ones. The rate at which they are looking for money, and that is not helping the society.
That is not helping. So there shouldn't be any desperation in any form, especially in the crave for getting wealth.
For wealth.
Yes, we should work hard. And that really should be the antidote to living peacefully and happily. All right, once again, I want to thank Dr. Dotun Awoyera. He is a PhD holder. Well, a PhD holder in cultural studies. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Okay, that is the size of our program this morning. We have to go. I want to appreciate everyone who made today's production a successful one. See you next week. Enjoy the remaining parts of the weekend and have a fantastic week ahead. It's bye for now.